the rustlings of their leaves and branches, sharing their secrets high above all else. Well, that's the trees, of course. From sunny forest hills to the great snow woodland in the north. These tall, majestic beacons act as natural walls and shelter for animal life in Skyrim. And not only do the trees play an important part in the province's ecosystem inside our beloved game on the lore side of things, they can look absolutely stunning. Often found even in the places you'd least expect, adding that touch of nether region tingling magic to the game's visuals. And within the modding scene, a lot of effort has been put in to enhance these visuals, with tree modification overhauls being among the most popular. And it's really not that hard to see why. So why not join me as we take a look at a couple of standout tree overhauls of recent time. As for this mod review bonus thingy, it's all about the tree mods. Now, before we dive headfirst into the mods, I want to quickly state that while the well-known tree mods like Skyrim 3D Trees and Plants, Enhanced Vanilla Trees and Wine Dave's Trees add-on are very good up-to-date mods, we'll be taking a look at more recent releases available on the Nexus. Yes, there are some secret goodies and mashups out there for the truly wicked, but for the sake of consistency and practicality, let's just keep our feet on the ground. And right here, the ground ain't looking all that too bad. The abundance of tree varieties, lushness and wild foresty beauty you see on your screen right now is Nature of the Wildlands, a forest and trees improvement mod by Mr. Fuck This World. Already a popular standout of 2022 modding, this overhaul of the forests of Skyrim simply make these woods a lot more diverse and dense, adding over 100 new forest meshes, completely primarily reworking the Falkreath, Riverwood and Riften regions. It's one of the densest tree modifications I've ever seen, with not only a bunch of new tree models, but also added meshes of forest debris scattered out everywhere in logs and stumps. And while many are quick to highlight the distinct look of the green forest this mod provides, as they rightfully should, I actually quite adore what Nature of the Wildlands does to the fiery autumn-touched region of the Rift. Something about these thin aspens just hits the spot with that extra magic while maintaining that classic Riften forest feel from vanilla. And as if providing us with all these new trees wasn't enough, the mod author also added some complementary features to the mod page with its own grass and landscape textures, should you want to make these forests even denser. And similarly to the trees, these are also compatible with the season-changing mod release earlier this year, Seasons of Skyrim, transforming nature in line with the seasonal changes of Skyrim, reflecting the contrast between the warm summer and cold winter days. And sticking to the same kind of dense, wild look, there's Vedigal Trees, another incredible tree overhaul aiming to drastically change the look and feel of your Skyrim, with a display of different high-quality trees. Throughout the entirety of the map, it spreads an impressive mix of 278 new models. In the standard forests, you'll definitely come to feel how the mod author GR Vulture aims to deliver a most immersive experience while exploring the wilderness. It certainly provides that wild foresty feel, and if that wild foresty feeling is what you're after, then there's also an optional file adding extra hand-placed trees, looking all wild and bushy, just like your mod. With distinct looks of wood for each region in Skyrim, you'll come to find a nice mixed bag of different trees. A mix of yellow, orangey and red birches and aspens can be found with some greens in the Rift, again not changing that autumnly feel of this place, while in Morthal, you'll find a crowded grouping of these thick trunk trees, and in the snowy north, you'll be met by the familiar look of classic snow-covered pines, huddled together with these more peculiar looking ones, together forming quite a pairing that nicely fits into the whole mood of the cold. And that generally sums up what I like about this mod. It makes some bold changes here and there, but it stays true to how most of us have come to perceive these biomes, so this can very well be that new, visually fresh addition you've been looking to add to your load order. Now, since this very much is an entire video dedicated to tree mods, Why not add some smaller ones to the mix, like Yagwanzi's Ancient Trees of Skyrim, a mod that mainly exists to overhaul the Gilder Green, both in its sad dead state and blossoming revived state, as well as the Elder Gleam of the Sanctuary, but it also implements these new oak trees at various spots across the land. Nothing that'll drastically change your whole gameplay experience, no, however, it might have you stumble upon one of these going, this is kinda nice, and I don't know about you, but I like nice things, and so I like this mod. And another mod that both I and probably most of you watching also like is Happy Little Trees. By the same mod author behind mods like Majestic Mountains and Blended Roads, Happy Little Trees is a tree replacer that aims to provide those modernizing, good visuals without making your computer go boom. And it does exactly that, covering the province with outstanding, high-quality immersive trees. These just fit into Skyrim perfectly, and you sort of get this feeling that if the base game came out today, it would come out with trees looking like these. It doesn't do anything too drastic to the landscape that will hinder your maneuverability and force you to play in a different way, except for perhaps looking up in awe every once in a while to admire the skylight shining through the tall pines. Not to mention, this mod probably adds the best looking trees to the rift you can get on the Nexus. They're certainly my favorite, at least when it comes to this specific autumn look. From these aspens in the rift to the brown-grey swampland trees of Yalmarch, and even out across the short stretch of the Sea of Ghosts to Solstheim, where the pines are covered in volcanic ash and dust. This mod just gets it right. The simplistic approach to better the trees in these areas in a consistently good way is what I love about Happy Little Trees. And oh my, does it do absolute wonders to the snowy regions with these pines covered in blankets of fluffy snow. Seeing multiple of these stretch out in the distance just gives off that winter wonderland mood. This is certainly one of the areas where the mod shines the most. So does its popularity and sheer amount of downloads come as a surprise then? No. Modding connoisseurs are attracted to quality, and this is quality. And if you're looking for a way to even further that quality, might I suggest Evil Dead Trees, Dying Trees in Evil Places. This ESL flagged mod by Agent W immersively replaces trees around evil places. Yes, be it ruins with hag ravens and necromancers, vampire caves, or even spooky shrines. It takes the idea of using landscape design for storytelling and implements it into Skyrim. This way, as a result of the transition to dead trees the closer you get, it makes these places feel more grandiose and impactful, and of course, more evil. From dead trees onto something more fancy, this is Fancy Sleeping Tree Replacer by Janetta182. Showing a little bit of love to the lone tree southwest of Whiterun, this simple mod makes use of assets from the previous ancient trees of Skyrim and adds it onto this, but it also adds on a beautiful animated glow or light up effect that gives this very tree that extra little bit of magic. It's like the fancy cherry on top of your tree mod ice cream, but that doesn't mean we're done with the mods. There are still some mighty delicious scoops left for us to take a look at. Starting with the replacement of pine trees out of Blubbos' incredible assortment of tree mods, Blubbos Pine Tree Replacer 2022. This mighty overhaul of Skyrim's pine forests replaces the 5 pine trees with some very unique looking tree models that add that fantastical flair of epicness, beauty, and intrigue. From the immensely tall and lanky pines swaying back and forth, towering over other trees of different shapes and sizes, like these thick-trunked oak trees with leaves that ooze of lushness from the greenest of greens. This mod completely reworks the look of these lands. And moving to other lands, Blubbos has also put out its Aspen Replacer 2022. Similarly to the pines, this drastically changes up the aspen-covered landscape, replacing them with these orange-green behemoth beauties. Walking through the rift, seeing the fiery leaves rustling in the wind in-game is quite the experience. And while the sheer size of these might not fit with the surroundings at some places, as there is some clipping to be seen, this can somewhat be mitigated through the recommended mod Less Vanilla Trees, which will also provide you with a better balance between the size and amount of trees, allowing more natural lighting to penetrate the forests in the process. And last but not least, there's Blubbos Tree Replacer for the Reach, replacing the 4 main models of trees in the Reach, probably most noteworthy introducing these tall ones to the otherwise quite barren rocky landscape. It makes this area of the map feel all the more powerful and, well, as you can see, it looks cinematic as fuck, and I adore it. As I do most of the mod author's work here, while these aren't the most polished of the video, they offer something different, distinct, and I can appreciate that. Now, both different and distinct can also be used to describe this next mod, Terrific by Yarballen89, because this overhaul will make some big changes, coming with an almost entirely new array of custom trees to replace the main Skyrim tree models. There's a lot going on here, and as you've probably noticed by now, I lack the tree knowledge to identify each of these models. But what I do know is that rather than being on the route of tall, pointy pines as some of the previous mods, Terrific's all about these thick, dense, round-leaf trees, if that makes sense. Truly adding a sense of fantasy, wilderness, and most importantly, variety to the different biomes. It really changes up these places, making some of them unrecognizable to the point you might end up finding yourself lost in these great thickets. Those woodland paths you've grown all so used to, they get completely transformed. And that, when looking for something fresh and new for your next playthrough, can be a very good thing. You quite simply end up with something different from what you might be used to, and if something like that is what you're after, this tree mod might be the one for you. And with that being the last one of the major tree overhauls we'll be looking at for today, why not end this video with a little something you might find intriguing? See, scattered around the iconic lake Ilinalta are these magical gates or portal thingies, and with the simple touch, these will take you up above the lake to the floating Yggdrasil Nern tree. A massive tree that can be seen from all surrounding areas as it sits on top of a floating island. The Nern tree is added by this mod from FrostyDude17 for you to either gaze upon in admiration when out adventuring, or to take the portal up for some relaxation as you attain the blessings of the god Kain. And that's it, the end. Hopefully this video has given you somewhat of an overview of the current tree mods available on Nexus and what to expect from each one of them. Do also remember to endorse the mods you end up putting to use and give the mod author some love. As for me, well, it does feel good being able to upload something for you guys after all this time, although I do feel a bit rusty. I had fun making this, and I'm looking to make use of the free time in summer to push out more content. And also, in the case you didn't know, I had a hand in the making of the latest SgtGimlinho dev diary alongside Burnsy back in March. So that's at least something to watch if you haven't already. But for those of you who have, there will be more content coming, I promise. Until then, this has been Gim. Remember to eat your vegetables and fruits, kids, and may your road lead you to warm sands, everyone. See ya!